Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. Well, I have good news today, really good news, and I have really bad news, really bad news. Here's the good news. Amos and his son Brent, they're a two-man crew. They started very early this morning. They pulled out all the fence posts. They pulled the scrub trees out here where the addition's going, and they took a little bit of topsoil off of that bank there, left the rocks because they can be filled in. And now Amos is going to start putting fill to build this up to the existing barn height. Oh, and they took the siding off of the barn. They're going to reuse this siding on the addition north wall. He's pulling out of the gravel stockpile now, but I expect he'll have trucks coming in here and dumping it directly in place when they really get going. This is the time of year when the tractors get a wash after manure season's over. I've had this in the shop since I did all that work on it in spring. Runs great. I figured, well, I might as well give it a cleaning before I put it away for the year. This is Red Hot, made by Auto Magic. It's an all-purpose cleaner degreaser that I use to clean tractors. Spray it on dry, let it sit, wash it off. There's a lot of grease on here. Here we go. All that's left to do is go through and grease it. Put some oil on the spots in these fuel tank where the paint's come off. Unfortunately, this tractor was stored outside for a little while after I painted it, or for a long while. And the paint faded and got rusty. Let's see here. Yep. She's going up to the barn to wait until more snow comes. Or maybe I'll get it out to rake or something like that this year. Never know. Pretty nice little tractor. It's been a few hours. They've made quite a bit of progress. There's a lot of fill here. This is my builder, Amos Nelson. Him and his son do all the work. And Amos, you've been in business for
43 years.
43 years doing mainly work at the big dairies. A lot of work at the big dairies.
Yeah, that and did a lot of commercial.
Yep. Building barns, you name it, Amos does it. We had real good luck with him on our first big pole barn, so he's back to do the addition. They'll have more material coming in dump trucks here in a little bit. What they're doing is they're building this up in lifts, because you always got to build in lifts to compact properly. So they'll put in inches with the Bobcat and then run it back and forth, and the tracks compact it. The builder says just as good as the roller does. And that's what they did when they built the main barn. The main barn's on a couple feet of fill in some places, and it never settled. This material that they're using is what we call around here bank run gravel, which is everything that comes out of the old creek banks. So you get everything from silt through sand and then on up to pretty decent sized stones. It's a good structural material. It packs really well and it stays in place. Remember the bad news I mentioned? The really, really bad news? We're going to deal with that now. Here we have an enclosure running all the way around the broiler boxes and with extension for about a week's worth of movement, and I think you can guess why. And it has to do with this box being empty. Last night a raccoon dug under that empty box. It had chickens in it at the time, it had about 40 of them. Killed them all, dragged some of them away. We've been doing this long enough where you know what the predator is based on the way the chickens are eaten. This was definitely a raccoon, there's no doubt about that. It wasn't a weasel, mink, or any of those kinds of things. This is a very rare occurrence for us. I can't even remember the last time we lost a box of chicken. Has it ever happened?
Yeah, once, years ago it did.
Oh.
They were way out that way though.
Typically a raccoon will reach through the screen and kill a couple. It's not common for us to see that. So we move our animals and protect our animals according to what's common, and I guess we got burned this time. So what were we doing about it? We put up that poultry net which will keep the raccoons out. It's electrified and very narrow rope spacing at the bottom. And then we're going to put up a have-a-heart trap. We bait those with liver, and hopefully we'll catch that raccoon and put him out of our misery.
That was such a bummer.
It is a bummer. These things about farming, you know, you plan for what's normal and then whammo, something happens. You certainly can't plan for the worst case all the time, or you'd be running around doing lots of work that never came to any fruition. We were going to move the second batch of broilers out today or tomorrow, but we're going to wait on them, catch the raccoon, and then move them out and probably fence them for a week longer and see if we catch any more raccoons. Here comes a dump truck coming across the field. This load that they just dropped is what we call New York State DOT Item 4. It's a state highway spec, and it's composed, well, you should know, I've been putting it in the barn here underneath the cattle pens. It's a lot like bank run gravel. It's got lots of fines in it, but it only goes up to stones about this big. So if you top the floor with it, I can clean out the winter bedding pack without picking up big stones. Now we're going to go out and check on the cattle. Hey you guys, most of you are at the Grove, good for you. Hanging out in the shade. There's Tulip. She's the most pregnant of all of them, so we keep an eye on her. She's dilating and her bag is full. It's going to be any time now. It took a day for a lot of them to work up the courage to go underneath the back rub. I'm glad they're all in there now. I think once you get most of the herd in, the rest of them follow. Hi, Patty. Patty's little one's been out a lot during the day. There he goes. Oh, don't complain to me. You sound dry. You need to go in and get a drink, go underneath that back rub. Let's take a look at the grass in this 5-acre field they've been on. It's time for these guys to move. Come on, cows! Come on, cows! My favorite part of summer. One of my favorite parts. Well, come on, you lollygaggers, let's go! Now that they've come through that back rub, I can probably lower it a little bit. It's touching their backs a little bit. Come on, cows! Patty, you gotta yell at me. We're gonna take them all the way down here to our very bottom field right against the hedgerow. Well, come on, you guys, I'm not gonna wait all day. I got other things to do. They'll all pile up here while I'm taking care of this gate. All right. All right, we can resume. Gate's open. We got to go down the laneway here again. Come on, cows. Come on, cows. Come on. Look at this beautiful grass we're taking you to. What do you think? You guys ready? All right. You can go on in. Go on. This here is some chomp-worthy grass. Almost up to my knees. You guys don't know where to begin, there's so much of it. We eat the dandelions first, Coco. This grass just goes on and on. This whole field is looking really good. Grass is starting to pick up with this nice weather. Another dump truck must be here. No, look at that. Still in the first third of May, and orchard grass coming out of the boot right there. Wow. I think they've buttoned up things for the day. Looks like we've got a flat top. There's the existing barn. Look at all those cool old tractors in there. All the toys left to rest for the evening. That's a lot of work for a day. Once they get in here, they sure are fast. They'll be putting posts in the ground before you know it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll keep you informed on progress, and I'll see you next time. What do we have here? You should be ashamed of yourself. You should. You should be ashamed of yourself eating all those chickens. You even eat the plastic tray that the chicken livers were in. This is a pretty big raccoon. I wonder why his belly's so big. I'm glad we caught him, but we're going to keep the trap for a night or two more and bait it again and see if there's any more that we need to get rid of.